Hey, Push Run Nation. Peace, Dr. Dave here in the Pain Cave. The lab are interested in pushing your running performance to the next level over and above what your genetic potential is using science. This is a video for you, so stay tuned. I am back, and I'm going to be going over some of the what I call science instruments, whether they be gear, supplements, or training device that has enabled me to greatly drop my competitive running times, not only from 5K, but all the way up to half marathon. And over a month and a half in 4 half marathons, take in 17 minutes of my PR time. I am huge into the science. Being a research scientist, I've published many scientific journal articles, mostly on performance psychology, performance mindset for high-performance athletes and executives. So I am a true believer in using scientific methods that have been proven to help athletes out raise their performance to the next level. So let me go over some of the things that I currently use and am going to be using and how I'm going to be using them, and let you know how you may possibly use them also. First one that's been out in the market for a while, the Stryd Footpod, but recently, and I mean within the last 2 weeks, they have come out with a duopod system with their next generation Footpod. When Stryd first came out back around, I'll say 2011, 12 to 2015, I had one of their original Footpods, but about a month ago, I bought their next gen Footpod, and I asked them, do you have any availability in your app to use a second Footpod for dual foot testing while running? Because I'm going to be using these not just in my training and racing, but also in testing super shoes. At the time when I bought the first one, they said, no, we don't do that, but it's something we may think about. Not even 1 week went by, and they came out with a notice that they were coming out with the dual Footpod system. Now, I'll tell you, initially, that lit a fire under me as to why couldn't you tell me, or just some generic statement to allude to the fact of, hey, be on the lookout for a message in the next couple weeks. In the last week, I've been using both of these. They've been giving me some pretty interesting data on my foot strikes and how they're a little bit different. And what they can tell you at the bottom level is if you have some type of leg discrepancy or hip discrepancy over contact time, how your feet are or shoes are landing on the ground, and that can tell you whether you have a hip displacement or a leg issue, leg strength issue, which will tell you or give you an idea of whether you need to or not get into some type of strengthening program for your hips. Or maybe you're out of adjustment, out of alignment in your hips. You need to go to the chiropractor to get put back into proper balance. But you can be looking to the future and many more videos on the Stryd Duo Footpod system and exactly all the data that these two little things right here can give you. Next, I've got the Airpod Pro. I think this is the 2.0 model, and basically a breathing testing apparatus or lung strengthening apparatus or device, kind of like a snorkel for swimming. Put it in your mouth. It has 2 dials on here, one for inhalation, one for exhalation, to make it easier or harder to expel air and inhale. And you can use this following along with a training app from Airpod to There's plenty of different training protocols they have, different ones for different reasons, but this will help you strengthen your lungs to eventually bring more air into your lungs when running. Now, someone like me, I have what's called a lung blockage in my right lung. Won't get into detail about why I have that. Goes back to my Army times, combat, back into Desert Storm, and the later Afghanistan and Iraqi wars, breathing in burn pit smoke, which is toxic. Eventually, not that anyone knew at the time, eventually that's going to really screw up your lungs. With me, mostly on my right lung, I have anywhere from a 60 to 80% blockage, meaning if when I'm running, I don't watch where my heart rate is or breathing, how fast I'm inhaling, exhaling, if I don't stay on top of that by thinking of how I'm breathing in, breathing out, and feeling my heart rate, I'll hyperventilate. So 60 to 80% of the air I breathe in, if I don't watch my levels and how that's making me feel, that's going to get trapped. And eventually, after about 5 breaths, once I start feeling that tightness on my right chest and my right lung, guaranteed I'm going to have to stop dead in my tracks, whether on a training run or in a race, concentrate on my breathing and heart rate to bring it down, because once I get to that tightness point, I'm either not going to be able to breathe or I'm going to be hyperventilating, gasping for air. And I've gone through it enough to know how to bring it down, but that may take anywhere from a minute to up to 5 minutes to bring that down. So I'm using a lot of different things to be able to strengthen my lungs, put more oxygen into my blood, to raise my running economy so that lung blockage does not affect me so much. So I'm able to push my pace a little bit harder, my performance level a little bit higher without it affecting me. So I use things like the AeroFit in training from SNAC Nutrition. I'm using a product, I've used this for the past 2 months, Hypoxygen, and there's plenty of products like this on the market, but SNAC Nutrition is one of the originators of this type of muscle oxygenation supplement that in this has vitamin C, vitamin E, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, vitamin B6, folate, B12, iron, selenium, carnitine. And what this basically does is helps your blood carry more oxygen, almost like back in the early days, Lance Armstrong when he was taking EPO. Well, EPO was a drug injected and allowed the blood to carry a lot more oxygen. Well, since then, a lot of supplements and other things have come on the market, totally legal, like Hypoxygen, that allows your blood to carry more oxygen. And over the 2 months I've been using this, it's the same period that I've been doing 4 half-marathon races and drop my time in every subsequent one of them, the second, the third, the fourth, for a total of 17 minutes over 6 weeks. Now, is Hypoxygen the reason for that? Specific for this? No. Cumulatively, because of everything I do right now? Yes. This is probably one of the major components. Now, I did use another type of product like this for several years before starting Hypoxygen and never had as dramatic of results from 2 months of using Hypoxygen. So I've got another video that's going to be coming out soon specific to Hypoxygen, what it is and what it can do for you. Another product from SNAC Nutrition that I've been using, again, about 2 months is ZMA. Now, you may have heard ZMA on the market from several other companies. Well, I'll tell you, SNAC Nutrition is the originators of ZMA. If you see any other company on the market selling a ZMA-type product, the base formula comes from SNAC Nutrition because they're the ones who hold the design for it. They're the only ones who make it and ship it out to probably about a dozen different companies who either sell it as ZMA, put a little bit different name onto it, or ZMX, ZMB, a few other type of supplements similar to this with the zinc and magnesium, which in the particular combination, along with B6, one gives you pretty good rest at night, along with helping your body rejuvenate and rebuild the muscle growth or muscle damage that was caused during your heavy training. So another product I've been using, great results, and I'll be going over this in another video also. Next up is the Nix Biosensor. Now, you've probably seen different sensors athletes wear on their shoulder that test their glucose. The Nix Biosensor specifically monitors electrolytes. Same type of thing, has the sticky pad you put on your shoulder, and then the sensor pad goes right onto that, clips on there, and with their app will tell you specifically how much electrolyte levels or what your electrolyte levels are that you're losing while you're training. And it will then give you recommendations of the type of electrolyte formula or drink by name that you should be using in your training, from the high end, from Element down to whatever it may be. Element is one of the top 1 or 2 drinks or powders on the market right now with the highest levels of electrolytes in it. So we'll go everywhere from there down to whatever, and maybe 6 to 10 different brand products, depending on what your body is losing. So you may not be losing as much electrolytes as I do. I drink Element right now. There's another brand I'm going to be testing that also has equally or even higher electrolyte levels in the drink because of how much my body is screwed up. I need to consume a high amount of electrolytes to kind of hold off severe leg cramping. And lastly, you may, if you've watched a few of my videos in the past, you've probably seen me mention ketone drinks. One in particular, KetoneIQ, I've been using for probably at least 4 months, maybe 6 months. I'm coming off a 2-week regimen of using this and documenting my heart rate, ketone levels, and training rates, paces, how much my performance has improved in races over similar courses as the other 2 ketone-type drinks I'm going to be using. Now, yesterday, in the long run, I just started using DeltaG, which is the original ketone drink. And originally, when KetoneIQ came out, they bought their ketones from DeltaG because they were the only one making them at the time. Over a period of time, for a few different reasons, KetoneIQ or HVMN is the parent company. They changed their formula to make it more marketable, I think, to the masses. Little bit different type of concoction. It's not a pure ketone type drink now. Kind of similar. In another video, I'm going to be going over the battle between these 3 products. So stay tuned for that.